Hello, wellness entrepreneur. Welcome back. Today, we're talking about what's actually working on Instagram right now. I'm going to actually give you some content ideas to help you grow your audience and sign more clients. But before we get into that, I want to make sure you're registered for the Instagram message makeover workshop. It's happening today. Link is in the show notes. If you missed it, don't worry. You can still get in and get the replay. Just message me. But also, the doors for the Instagram Message Makeover Clinic, a 3-month program to help you double your audience, get more views, sign more wellness clients, opens today with exclusive bonuses that end September 12th. So you get a 50-minute one-to-one strategy session with me where we'll map out your Instagram content plan, clarify your offer so when you do have more views, you feel confident getting people on a consultation, marketing it, or just getting people in the door to it. Tailor your messaging so it's specific to your business and who you help. Plus, if you sign up before September 12th, you'll also get 3 months of one-to-one private DM support. Now, that's Monday through Friday through business working hours, but you can message me and send me a reel and say, I thought this really would take off and it didn't. Can you tell me why? There's also a community over the 3 months, so you can get feedback from your peers. You can connect with them, have a support system where they're liking your content and commenting, and you're liking them of like minded wellness practitioners. Plus, you're never going to feel stuck staring at a blank screen again. Every week, I give you examples of viral content from other wellness practitioners. There's no other Instagram program that's specific to wellness practitioners where you're going to see what works for wellness practitioners. Plus, you're going to get copy and paste hooks and story side sequences. There'll be specific ones for health coaches, yoga teachers, massage therapists, physical therapists. So you can just copy and paste it and post it onto your content. So showing up online feels simple. Plus, you'll stay up to date with what's working on Instagram beyond this very podcast episode here, and so much more. So make sure you use the link in the show notes to either book your consult if you're on the fence or just get in right now and get your bonuses. Okay, let's get on to the podcast episode of what is working on Instagram right now. This is especially for you if you feel like it's taking forever to create content. You're spending hours creating perfectly polished static posts and getting zero client inquiries. This episode is going to flip your entire content strategy upside down in a good way. I'm going to share what's working in 2025. It's August right now, helping me to book clients, helping my clients to book clients on Instagram. And spoiler alert, it's not the aesthetic feel you think you need, or content shouldn't take as long as you think it should to make. In fact, sometimes the messier it looks, the more down to earth and real and raw you are, the more money it makes. I can't tell you the number of practitioners that come to me and say, I've spent 90 minutes creating this one reel or 3 hours creating these 2 carousels, and it only got a couple of likes. I get it. Instagram used to be about beautiful lays, perfect lighting, very aesthetic grid, polished graphics, and you could spend precious time in Canva making all of that. But the truth is, a lot of practitioners have come online to Instagram specifically since then. And a polished, generic, graphic, static post just doesn't stand out anymore. That recipe with a beautiful picture of the food that you found from a stock photo catalog, it just doesn't separate you from the other wellness practitioners. It's easy to scroll by. It doesn't stop to scroll. It doesn't have someone think, oh my gosh, I need to follow her for more content like this. It doesn't hook them in. And it for sure doesn't lead them to that next step to becoming a client. Essentially, your ideal clients are just scrolling past. And then you're stuck in the endless cycle of creating content that takes forever to create, but gets no engagement. You're posting educational tips that people sometimes save, but never book you to go further with. You're watching other wellness practitioners seem to effortlessly grow their audience, get more views, convert followers into paying clients, even though they have less experience or less certifications. You feel like you need to be everywhere, doing everything, and somehow become an influencer just to book a consultation. And that just all leads to burnout. Here's what I've discovered. I've been really going hard with Instagram the last year and a half or so. I really turned my Instagram account around, more than double my followers. My views are night and day from 200 views to now consistently I'll get anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 views on a reel. I get new followers daily. And here's what works for me, as well as my clients who's also doubled their views, doubled their audience size, have started getting their first consults or filling their first workshops using Instagram to help. The content that's working isn't pretty polished, it's powerful and sometimes raw. It's not about having perfect aesthetic content or even following the latest trend. It's about creating what I call scroll stopping authenticity. Content that makes people stop mid scroll because they feel seen. It hooks them in. You literally need a hook. And the beautiful part is this approach actually works better for wellness entrepreneurs because your ideal clients aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for someone who understands their struggle and can guide them to a health solution that will work for them. So today we're going to go over 5 different type of content types that are really working for wellness practitioners. And none of them require a ring light, a tripod, a fancy camera, or a Canva subscription. And what I want to caution you with is sometimes as a practitioner, we always want to go with an aligned marketing method. We want it to feel really comfortable and light up our soul and our solar plexus and have our chakras going. But sometimes to get a different result, we have to try something new. And often trying something new is uncomfortable. So I challenge you here. If there's been a style, like for example, B-roll style has been working really well, and I'm going to go over what that is in just a little moment here, has been working really well for me. I've been getting, like I said, anywhere from 2,000 to 10,000 views, which is, gosh, night and day from 200 to 400 views. But I was just talking with my coach, and I want to go from 10,000 views now to 50,000 views or even 100,000 views. And she's encouraged me to try some of these different formats of content here and play around with that too, while continuing to do what works. Meaning, I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater and abandon B rolls altogether. I think sometimes as practitioners, we do that. If we think we're going to try something new, we jump from one new thing to another new thing. However, you want to keep what's working while you layer in and try new strategies as well. So let's break down some of these strategies. Okay, number one, if you feel comfortable talking to the camera, talking to Instagram, knowing that there's people out there watching, even if they're not live, you've done a lot of presentations before, led a lot of workshops, then brief talking head videos with vulnerable hooks might be a strategy for you. So, what does that mean? It means you're literally going to hold up your phone. You can do it in the Reels app. So, you can start and stop. So, you don't have to memorize a 30-second script. You can feel authentic where you're speaking to one specific problem your audience has. You're using a hook above the talking head or not over your face, below your head. And you're putting captions on the screen. Don't forget the captions. So many people forget the captions and people don't listen with the audio on half the time because they're in the grocery store or in the car with their kids and their kids are there or their partner's there and they don't want their partner to hear. So, anyways, you can record a 15 to 30-second authentic conversation speaking to a problem that your audience has or telling your story or a client's story. Now, the mistake I see here is often they're way too long. There's no hook on the screen, so no one knows what you're talking about, or the introduction is just way too long. You're pausing, takes forever to start the video, or you're just introducing yourself. I'm XYZ health coach. I do this, blah, blah, blah. You got to get right to the point. What's in it for them? For example, I used to think I was lazy until I realized I was just burnt out. The day I stopped trying to fix everyone else and started fixing my business. Or POV, you realize your chronic pain for your back isn't normal and there's actually something you can do about it. Then get right into it. And then you could say, like my client Maria, a yoga therapist, posted a 20-second video starting with, I cried in my car after another 12-day in the clinic. So, for example, you're jumping right into it. I had someone describe this as if someone was being airdropped from an airplane right into the middle of the field. You want to drop them right into the middle of the story that's going to capture their attention. You got to be short, and succinct. And that's why I actually like recording those in the Instagram Reel app itself, because you can start it and stop it and you can edit really easily. So that is format type one. Format type two is behind the scenes, how I did it, stories. So people want to see what's going on for you, your process, your real life, your journey. The messier, the better. Now, these are connection points where people can see maybe what you do in your day to day. What is happening for you? What is working for you? What's not working for you? Now, here is my personal hangups on this and some of my clients is we don't want to be on our phones 24/7. When we go on vacation, we want to be on vacation. When we are with our clients, we want to be with our clients. We don't want to be recording all day long and posting all day long every day. I hear you here. So, some people naturally will drop sneak peeks behind the scenes of their day to day throughout an Instagram sequence or just continuously on Instagram throughout the day. If that's working for you, keep doing it. People are really going to get a day in the life experience with you and see what it's actually working for your health. I love that. However, if you're feeling a little burnout of doing that, or it doesn't work, like you want to be present with your kids, or you feel like you're not being present with your kids, here's what I do. When I show up on a vacation or an event or clients have a great win or a really awesome experience, I'll take pictures or videos of it right there in the very beginning of it. And then I save those to my camera roll, to my phone. And either later that day when I have some quiet time or a moment, I'll post it and share it, usually as a sequence, or the next day in the morning, first thing, I'll do that. You don't have to post it right there in the moment and take away from you being present. You can do it later when your kids are playing independently or you have some quiet time to yourself. Now, the downside of this is sometimes I do forget to go back and post some of those moments. Like last night, I just went to my own somatics yoga class and I forgot to take a video when I was there and I forgot to post it, even though I have a ton of videos that I could have used from many yoga classes in the past. I just forgot to post it. But maybe now that I'm saying this, I'll do it later today. So just know that you can come back to it anytime and try to be onto yourself to stay consistent with this. Okay, format number three is client transformation skits without breaking HIPAA laws or any type of skits, which may be funny. They may be stomach dropping. So I just had a reel that has about almost 9,000 views. I go over a skit, the stomach dropping moment, where a client mentions that they feel worse after a session. So it's not funny at all. But it is scroll stopping and captures the attention because it's real. Every practitioner is going to have a moment if they've been in business or if they've been working with people long enough where people are going to say, actually, my back feels flared now, or it's more sore, or actually, now I feel more dismal or disappointed or hopeless about my situation after a session. It's real and it's raw and it's vulnerable. So sometimes skits can be highlighting a client win. Sometimes they can be highlighting, again, those vulnerable moments. Sometimes they can be funny. Telling another one that did really well for me was I can't remember tell you the number of times where I've gotten to the physical therapy clinic early at like 6:30 or 7 a.m. to catch up on some documentation. And I think I'm going to have all quiet time. And I sneak into the office, unlock the doors. And the second I shut the door, a patient comes in like 30 or 45 minutes early and they just want to chat. And so I did a skit about that where it's quick B-roll where you get into the office early and I mouth to the Taylor Swift song. I forget the name of it, where it's like, damn, it's 7 a.m. I'm looking over and I see a client. And that one did really well because it's really funny and relatable. The key here is when you're doing these skits, you have to be very specific to a moment in time that your clients can relate to. Now, you don't need your actual clients on the camera. You can tell the story through the lens. Like when I did the stomach dropping moment of a pretend client saying that their shoulder felt worse after the session, I just looked at the camera and pretended to hand someone a purse. And then I made my face as a practitioner feel like their heart is dropping to the floor because they were not expecting that conversation to be had. So you can pretend a client is there. Sometimes I have my husband fill in. Sometimes I have my daughter get on the table and I'll film video while I'm massaging her. She just loves massage anyways. So you can have people fill in. I did an Instagram retreat with one of my coaches and we did a bunch of B-roll content we filmed ahead of time. And so I have some of my colleagues there that were filling in as pretend clients. So you can film B-roll and then save it in your phone for later to help make up these skits. So you can have skits that talk about specific things that happen when a client's trying to heal back pain, or them overstretching their hip flexors or their piriformis when it's actually making the problem worse, or highlight a client win, the before, the after. You can do that as B-roll. Another reel that did really well for me was one of those B-rolls from when I was on the retreat. I had one of my friends, she was filming with me as a pretend client. And then on the screen, I said how my client, as a new yoga therapist, got to 5K months in her first few months of business. And then I told the story in the caption. So many ways to use skits here to get more views. Okay, strategy or format number 4 is unprofessional carousel posts. So throw out the Canva templates. You don't need professional headshots or carousels with pictures from the screen roll where you slide through. You have anywhere from 5 to 10 slides. Images are actually doing really well and have the chance to go viral. Or you can do carousel posts with infographics that you do make on Canva. But for me, those take way too long to make. I need to get better about it because they actually do really well. But in the meantime, you can just use any pictures in your camera roll that are very relatable. People want to see behind the scenes. Here, I actually convert a lot of my emails into the carousels. The key is to have a hook and sometimes even second carousel slide, because sometimes Instagram will show the second carousel slide in the feed over the first. So you do want to make sure that there is a hook, and then you can walk them through like before, after, if you're highlighting a client story, what you taught them, and then call to action. It can also be speaking to a problem, what you feel the solution is, or the perspective shift is, how you work with people, call to action. So simple frameworks like that work really well in these unprofessional carousel posts. They can even be handwritten notes on a notebook paper, photographed before and after photos, your actual workspace. Now, if you look at my carousels, you see that I do use professional pictures because I have a lot of them and I have them available. And truthfully, my VA purposes my emails a lot of the times. So it's just easier for her to access the pictures in my folder. Now, most of the other content, all the reels I do. This is the only area where I have a VA. She helped me with content, she repurposes it. That might be a whole episode. I'm saying this because many people, many practitioners want to hire out and outsource their content too quickly. Again, you got to figure out what works first before you hire it out. Maybe I should do an episode on that at some point. The point being is it's very easy to create carousels if you're just using anything in your camera roll, and then just tell the story of a specific problem or a specific moment or a client win or your own health transformation. Be specific. Okay, format 5 is the B-roll, which I use a lot of. So you can always head to my feed, Ignite Your Wellness Business, to see lots of different B-roll content and B skits. This isn't black or white. They can overlap. These are just ideas. So again, it's not pretty footage. A lot of the footage is here in my she shed. A lot of it is a day in the life. What's important is that it's specific, intentional storytelling. It's speaking to a very specific problem someone has, a specific moment of a client win. It could be hands-on shots of you actually working with someone, of course, with permission, your drive home, being safe, reflecting on a very meaningful client session. It could be setting up your space in the moment. Or I have a client whose B-rolls do well and she's cleaning her massage clinic office. So it can be anything where you just set up the phone, and there's so many different camera or iPhone tools now that you can get from Amazon that can stick on walls or phone holders. So it makes it easy for you to capture these moments while you're just doing your thing. It doesn't have to take any extra time. And then you're just saving those B-roll footage in a folder to match up to a particular topic that you're talking about. So there is a bunch of ideas to get you going. Now, if you're waiting, thinking, okay, well, I'll get to this when I have more time, or I'll get to this when X, Y, Z, here's the problem. Right now is the perfect time to grow on Instagram. The longer you wait, more practitioners are coming on and growing now. They're growing right now. And so you want your audience to find you. The algorithm, there's so much potential the way it's set up. You don't need a large following to go viral. It's actually pushing out smaller accounts when you know the metrics, which I teach in the Instagram Message Makeover Clinic. When you know the right metrics to measure, which is simple and easy, and you know what gets content pushed out, It couldn't be a better time to join Instagram right now versus if you wait 6 months or a year, you just don't know what's going to change for the algorithm or the platform. Or think about how many practitioners are going to be coming onto Instagram in another 6 months or another year because people are realizing how many wellness clients, real people needing help with their health struggles on Instagram right now. Plus, if you're not using strategies that actually work, it's just time wasted on content creation. And then you might get frustrated and give up. Again, I don't want you to do that. Or you just get burnout. Or you're just wasting time or leaving money on the table because you're not doing something that actually works. I can't tell you the number of clients who've come to me who are just on the verge of going viral. And we make these small tweaks, like a couple of Katies. I have two Katies that I worked with. One came to me at 2,000 followers, is now at 20,000 followers in less than a year. My other client, Katie, in just a couple of weeks, she was getting 200 to 400 views. We worked on utilizing her skills, videoing in the day of the life because she's a chef. And she had a reel of her chopping onions get more than 30,000 views just in a couple of weeks of just trying some of these different formats. So it can happen really quickly. So your next steps is to get into the Instagram message makeover workshop. It's $7. It is today, September 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you miss it, just go join the Instagram message makeover clinic or get into my schedule for a consultation so you can get access to those bonuses, which is more individualized one-to-one time with me to make sure that your content is converting and you're measuring the metrics that are applicable for you and your messaging is relevant for your audience and will convert and so much more. So you can get in and join that. And I will see you next week or in the clinic. Alrighty, bye for now.